It's 5:30 p.m. here in Lagos, Nigeria. Time for the world today. I'm Amarachi Ubani. Here's what's coming up. U.S. President Donald Trump signed a bill to end the longest government shutdown ever in the history of the United States. European parliamentarians react to the latest corruption scandal in Ukraine. Plus, at least 37 people killed after a bus plunges into a 200-meter deep ravine in Peru. Let's begin the world today. The government shutdown is officially over in the United States. President Donald Trump signed the bill ending what has become the longest government shutdown in U.S. history. It came as the House of Representatives backed the bill by 222 to 209 after the Senate approved it 60 to 40 earlier this week. And both sides have blamed each other for the stalemate, which saw government services in crisis mode. The new bill, however, only lasts until January 30.
For the past 43 days, Democrats in Congress shut down the government of the United States in an attempt to extort American taxpayers for hundreds of billions of dollars for illegal aliens and people that came into our country illegally, from gangs, from prisons, from mental institutions. They wanted to pay them $1.5 trillion, which would have really hurt our healthcare businesses and our recipients at levels never seen before. Today, we're sending a clear message that we will never give in to extortion, because that's what it was. They tried to extort. The Democrats tried to extort our country. In just a moment, I'll sign a bill exactly like we asked Democrats to send us all along, many days ago. This cost the country $1.5 trillion, this little excursion that they took us on. Republicans never wanted a shutdown and voted 15 times for a clean continuation of funding. There's never been a time when one or the other party ever didn't sign a continuation. It's just a continuation, not a big deal. It's a continuation, and we'll talk later. Yet the extremists in the other party insisted on creating the longest government shutdown in American history, and they did it purely for political reasons. Over the past 7 weeks, the Democrats' shutdown has inflicted massive harm. They caused 20,000 flights to be canceled or delayed. They departed so many times, so late. People were hurt so badly. Nobody's ever seen anything like this one. This was a no-brainer. This was an easy extension. But they didn't want to do it the easy way. They had to do it the hard way. They look very bad, the Democrats do. They deprived more than 1 million government workers from their paychecks and cut off food stamp benefits for millions and millions more Americans in need. They caused tens of thousands of federal contractors and small businesses to go unpaid, and the total effect of the damage their antics caused will take weeks and probably months to really calculate accurately, including the serious harm that they did to our economy and to people and to families. So I just want to tell the American people, you should not forget this.
U.S. President Donald Trump. Now, before he signed the bill, the impact of the shutdown was felt in the Nigerian community, especially on those within the healthcare industry, as the Obama healthcare provision was not included in this bill. Our Washington correspondent Maria Bird had a chat with the president of the Nigerian Physicians Advocacy Group, Dr. Susan Edionwe, about this.
Dr. Susan, president of Nigerian Physician Advocacy Group, we thank you for being a part of this conversation, as we know it's a really busy time in the United States and a really challenging time for many Americans. As a Nigerian American and as a physician, we know the government shutdown has impacted across the board, not just federal workers. Tell us how your organization is responding to, the Nigerian community is responding to this government shutdown. Obviously, we know there's the healthcare debate that's a part of this conversation and this shutdown. We also know that, people can't necessarily get to the doctors as frequently because of co-pays. They can't pay those. What's the real impact, and how's the Nigerian community responding?
I think the impact is it's significant, and it is similar to what a lot of Americans are, the reality a lot of Americans are facing. Although the Nigerian American diaspora community is considered one of the more economically successful demographics in the United States, it's still impacting us. It's still hitting us. We have many people who are struggling with bringing in the types of incomes that they were bringing in before because of some of the shutdowns. We have a lot of people who work within the government who were affected by the shutdown. From the healthcare perspective, we're a physicians advocacy group. Many of our members are dealing with real practice issues. Many of our members service demographics that are high Medicaid volumes. They're seeing impact to their practice. I am a physician with my own practice, and I'm seeing it affect my patients in my community. So, I think nobody is exempt from the consequences of the shutdown. Nobody's exempt from the healthcare issue. The Nigerian Physicians Advocacy Group is the 501c4 affiliate of the Association of Nigerians in the Americas. And so through our parent organization, we do a lot of outreach, reaching the communities, giving, to those in need, providing food, providing, any kind of benefit we can to the community. So there is that avenue that we explore and we utilize. But it's hard. It's really hard because there's so much that's happening from day to day. It's hard to keep up. But the Nigerian community is seeing the impact.
Now, we're on the precipice of potentially reopening of the government. What are the expectations and what are some of the ways your organization and Nigerians in the U.S. are looking to respond and to be able to work together? Because we know that as soon as the switch is turned on, doesn't mean everything's just back to normal.
So, with the government reopening and, looking at it from two lenses, from what is going on in Nigeria, one of the mottos for our organization is to promote good governance, particularly in Nigeria. So we are hoping to see true energy around creating holistic policies with the Nigerian government, not just on a federal level, a local level, working with democratic actors on ground, engaging with diaspora organizations like NPAG. We're looking for some energy around recreating or reestablishing the Nigerian American Caucus, and really giving Nigerian Americans a voice. So that's what we would like to see when the government reopens and people get back to work. From the healthcare perspective, we cannot allow Americans to lose healthcare at such dramatic numbers. We cannot allow Americans to not have the ability to provide health to their families. So what we would like to see for Americans in healthcare is we need both sides. This should be a nonpartisan effort to really get back to the table and give true substantive options to Americans to be able to continue to afford healthcare. We're hearing reports of premiums going up 4, 5, 6 times. Families saying, I can't afford my healthcare anymore. That's going to put a huge strain on our healthcare system. It's going to send people back to the ERs. And we know, pre-ACA, pre-Obamacare, the ERs were suffering under uninsured care. Is this where we really want to go back to? So I would hope when the government reopens that we see real investment in true healthcare options for Americans.
And lastly, before we go, we know Obamacare is what is being X'd from even the amended bill. How many Nigerians in the U.S. potentially were beneficiaries of that, noting that, as you mentioned, economics successful typically means entrepreneurship, some sort of business owners, and many business owners oftentimes opted into the Obamacare healthcare options?
Well, I don't have specific numbers, but I would venture to say a significant amount. Even in my own, immediate circles, many of the Nigerians that I personally know have benefited from the ACA. So it's not an insignificant amount. It is a substantial amount, I believe.
Well, we thank you so much. We would love to have you back again after the government reopens, as the debates will continue around healthcare. So thank you again.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Our correspondent Maria Bird with the Nigerian Physicians Advocacy Group President, Dr. Susan Edionwe. And more from the recently released emails in U.S. sex offender Jeffrey Epstein. And one of them appears to confirm that Queen Elizabeth's third child, Andrew Mountbatten, Windsor, was photographed with American-Australian Virginia Giuffre. The message sent by Epstein, who is alleged to have taken the photo, reads, "Yes, she," referring to Giuffre, "was on my plane, and yes, she had her picture taken with Andrew." Epstein's account appears to contradict the former prince's assertion that he never met with Giuffre and his long-standing suggestion that the image of him with his arm around her may have been doctored. The July 2011 email was published on Wednesday alongside more than 20,000 pages of correspondence from the convicted sex offender and disgraced financier's estate. Ms. Giuffre, a prominent accuser of Epstein, alleged Andrew had sex with her 3 times as a teenager. Andrew, who denied the allegations, reached out of court settlement with Ms. Giuffre in 2022. It contained no admission of liability or apology. We're in Europe now, where the parliament has been in uproar today over the most recent corruption allegations of members of President Volodymyr Zelensky's cabinet in Ukraine. Ukrainian anti-corruption agencies revealed on Monday that some of the president's close associates were allegedly involved in a plot to skim around $100 million from Ukraine's energy sector. A scandal erupted as Ukrainians suffer blackouts caused by Russian bombing. The state said it had spent tens of millions of euros to protect energy infrastructure from drones and missiles.
We are repairing, for example, the damage done by Russian strikes. We are stabilizing Ukraine's energy grid with over 2 gigawatts of electricity exports from the Union to Ukraine. And we are protecting critical infrastructure, for example, with new anti-drone equipment. So this winter will shape the future of the war, and our response must rise to the challenge. And this is why we will disburse today almost 6 billion euros from the ERA loan and the Ukraine facility to Ukraine. And this is why I very much welcome the European Council's very clear commitment in the last meeting to cover Ukraine's financial needs for the next 2 years, 2026, 2027. It's clear we will deliver and we will cover the financial needs of Ukraine for the next 2 years. The discussion is now on the how. And there are 3 options. Option 1 is to use the budget's headroom to raise money on the capital markets. Option 2 is to have an intergovernmental agreement that member states raise the necessary capital by themselves. And option 3 is to have a reparations loan. This is based on immobilized Russian asset. So this would mean take the cash balances from the immobilized Russian assets, hand them as a loan to Ukraine, and Ukraine has to pay back this loan if Russia pays back reparations. This is the most effective way to sustain Ukraine's defense and its economy. And it's the clearest way to make Russia understand that time is not on their side.
This week, however, media are full of a multi-billion corruption case in Ukraine targeting the inner circle of the same President Zelensky. Is this something we really want in the EU? Thanks to the invitation by the Patriots, we had Professor John Merzheimer in the Parliament. He painted a bleak picture concerning Ukraine. The war is a result of an unwise attempt to enlarge NATO. The United States will pivot to Asia. The war will end in an ugly victory of Russia, resulting also in weakening the NATO and the EU. But Russia will not attack EU, not even go beyond the Russian-speaking regions of Ukraine. So told Professor Merzheimer. He doesn't tell nice tales, but tends to be right. Let us adapt to the realities. Let's disentangle from the quagmire of unending war in Ukraine.
And on to the climate conference happening in Belém, Brazil. Activists staged a protest on a flotilla led by the Ferry Empress against Western double standard on agribusiness. They condemned the environmental toll in the Amazon from deforestation, expanding hydroelectric dams and mining concessions, urging the EU governments and companies to adopt sustainable policies. Around 200 boats sailed along the coast of Belém on Wednesday to mark the opening of the People's Summit, a parallel event held alongside COP30. to apologize for the mix-up in the video. That was about 37 people who were killed as a bus plunged into a 200-meter deep ravine along the Panamericana-Sur highway in Peru's Camaná province on Wednesday. Local authorities say the bodies were scattered around a cliff, making it difficult to lift them due to the rocky terrain. The bus had been traveling along the Chala-Arequipa route when it collided with a pickup truck before veering off the road and plunging into the ravine. Police, firefighters and rescue teams worked at the scene to recover the bodies, which were later taken to the central morgue in Camaná province. The injured were evacuated to nearby hospitals after suffering severe fractures, including abdominal and cranial trauma. Authorities are investigating the cause of the incident. 3 days since a car exploded near the Red Fort in the Indian capital, Delhi, killing 8 people. Investigators say they're checking if it has any links to the recent arrests of 7 men by police in Indian-administered Kashmir. They say they're also investigating if it has any connections to the recent seizure of 2,900 kilograms of explosives from Faridabad in Delhi suburb. On Wednesday, the federal cabinet issued a resolution calling it a heinous terror incident perpetrated by anti-national forces. The reaction matched earlier comments by Prime Minister Narendra Modi, who spoke of a conspiracy, warning that conspirators will not be spared and all those responsible will be brought to justice. The police or the National Investigation Agency are yet to hold a press conference or issue a formal statement on the investigation. And in South Africa, President Cyril Ramaphosa has hit back at U.S. President Donald Trump's decision not to attend this month's G20 Leaders Summit in Johannesburg, saying the U.S. absence is their loss. It's in response to President Donald Trump's earlier comment that no U.S. official would attend the gathering over widely discredited claims that white people are being persecuted in South Africa. President Ramaphosa said the boycott will not prevent the meeting from going ahead, adding that the U.S. is giving up the very important role that they should be playing as the biggest economy in the world. Well, South Africa's finance minister has also rejected the accusations by President Trump that the government is committing genocide against white South Africans. Well, in a move to reshape Southern Africa's industrial landscape, Nigerian businessman and billionaire Aliko Dangote has struck a landmark $1 billion investment deal with Zimbabwe. The project includes a fertilizer plant and 2,000-kilometer-long pipeline from Namibia's Walvis Bay through Botswana to Zimbabwe's second-largest city, Bulawayo. The deal underscores growing investor confidence in Mnangagwa's economic reform agenda and brings the powerful West African conglomerate, headed by Africa's richest man, deeper into the southern region.
Yes, so come China. This in cement, some of it in power generation, some of it in pipeline to bring petroleum products. You know, we're in the business of producing oil. We have the largest refinery in the world, single lane in Nigeria, and we want to bring it to Walvis Bay and then pipe down here. So there are a couple of other investments which we're looking at. Broader investment really is in hundreds of millions of dollars, maybe even up to $1 billion. But you know, we will tell you the amount as we go along. But really, it will be over $1 billion because of the pipeline. And now government is solid. There is a lot of transparency, and also when you look at what His Excellency has actually done in terms of turning the economy around, that really gave us the confidence that, look, this is the right time for us to come and invest. And it's like somebody, when you pass the exam, people have to give you a good mark. So His Excellency has passed that exam, and that's why we're here, to make sure that we give him a very big mark to come and invest. Yeah.
Well, she's 7 months pregnant and there's no stopping her lifting those weights at the gym. I'm introducing Delhi Police Constable Sonika Yadav, who just recently lifted an impressive 145 kilogram in deadlift, securing a bronze medal at the All India Police Weightlifting Cluster. Yadav also lifted 125 kilograms in squats, there she is, and 80 kilograms in the bench press before her record-breaking lift. Her incredible achievement garnered widespread admiration. It also led to discussions about strength, motherhood, and the safety of lifting, heavy lifting, that is, during pregnancy, as she trained under medical supervision. Yadav explains that she started going to the gym back in 2022, but began powerlifting in January of 2027. Her powerlifting journey continued throughout 2023 to 2024 and to this year. She says not even pregnancy has changed her routine, which she has maintained before and even after pregnancy. She did adjust her diet, though, and increase her nutrients while taking care of her child, but she did not miss her fitness journey, even for a day. That may be too much for you. How about we go to the soft side of life now, where we're sniffing on those flowers in bloom in the province of Tien Cang in Vietnam, or just enjoying those breathtaking views of delicate pinkish white blossoms sprawling almost endlessly across the fields. Many tourists lucky enough to witness this, and we lucky enough to watch it, miles and thousands of miles away, are usually filled with awe and wonder. We're told the best time to view is from October to late November, when the flowers transition from white to pink and then to deep red. This annual season transformation is more than just a visual spectacle. The buckwheat flower, or Tam Gyak Mak, is a powerful local symbol of resilience and love, thriving in the region's challenging soil. The bloom has become a significant driver for tourism in Vietnam, especially to that region. And to celebrate this natural wonder, Tien Cang hosts an annual buckwheat flower festival. I can tell that's an Instagram-worthy picture to be taken. Thanks for watching The World Today. I'm Amarachi Ubani.